That's what it was.
3, 2, 1, 12.
What's up, everybody? I'm Mike.
I'm Nick.
We are the Brothers Murph, and you might notice we're in a slightly different looking and sounding place than we were before.
A little bit, yeah.
You know why?
Why?
Because I moved.
Oh, you did?
We moved the studio into
That's
the
right.
house I bought.
I forgot, yeah.
And we're running a Kickstarter right now to finish out this studio space. We're going to be putting up a couple of walls. We're going to be expanding these shelves. We're going to be making wall decor. We're going to be upgrading equipment for clearer and better streams and videos moving forward into season 5 of the Brothers Murph.
Yeah, indeed.
So that's something you can help us with if you don't mind. We have a Kickstarter running right now. There's a card here. There's a link in the description of this video, and you can support our Kickstarter. Get your very own Unmatched set featuring these two butts.
Yeah.
And lots of fun content and rewards. So check out our Kickstarter today before it's too late.
Indeed. And so today we're doing our rapid reviews, talking about all the games we played in the last month. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and start, and we're gonna start with the new stuff like we did last time.
The new
So these are all the games we've never played before. These are new to us games, which we'll start with. So the first one we played was a Taco Bell Party Pack card game.
Yes.
Which was a cute little game.
It's a cute little game. It's basically a set collection game.
Tiny little set collection game, yeah.
And one thing that we really like about these games, this is my Ravensburger, is that all of these like mass market, it's definitely made for like non-gamers, I would say. But it's a decent little game in there that's really simple to understand, but it's like a set collection thing. So it's a concept that appears much more often in board games, but it's just diluted down to a very easy to get into game with a great tie-in of Taco Bell. It's gonna be like a white elephant gift that goes around it. It might actually get people interested in board games.
And that's because we've talked about this before. It's like now mass market games, it's like, it's a very, very simple, set collection game. But it's still a game with like modern day board game mechanics and stuff in it. And it's about as simple as you can get, but that's great because it's an actual like honest to God game, not just some roll and move, Candyland type thing. So it's really, really great.
Choices
like
to make.
The low bar for these mass market games is so much higher than it used to be. It's just really, really cool. And the game is fine. It's like not the best game ever, but like it's a fine little game, and it's Taco Bell, and Taco Bell rocks.
I'm excited for it to help hopefully make some board gamers.
Yeah.
We also played 3 games from Arcane Wonders this month. We played Sherlock XIII, which is a small 2 to 4 player deduction game where you're going to have 13 characters from the Sherlock Holmes universe. One of them is going to be a criminal. If we're playing like a 4-player game, the other 12 cards are going to get passed evenly between the other players. So you know right away there's 3 characters that the criminal cannot be because I have them in my hand. And then on those characters, there's a series of icons. Some people have more icons than others. Some icons are more common than others. And what you're going to basically try to do is figure out like what everyone else has in their hands, or at least what icons they have. Because if I have 3 pipes and I find out you have 2 pipes, there's 5 pipes total. That means any character that has a pipe cannot be the criminal. So now you can start whittling out people, and you kind of try to whittle down to who you think might be in the center of the table.
And it's super simple. It's like 10 minutes long. It's got Vincent Trey art, so it looks nice.
Looks nice.
And it's just a tiny, simple little filler deduction game that's like really cool. It was very nice, honestly.
Yeah. We also played Aquatica from Arcane Wonders, which is a really cool underwater kind of
With triple thick boards.
With triple thick boards and stuff. Yeah, because you have these cards, these treasures. You're basically pulling treasures out of the deeps. And as you do that, you're literally putting these cards and sliding them up under your player board. And then as you slide up from little section to section, they're going to give you different awards. Like
give you money,
power, money. They might allow you to score some of your cards. They might allow you to shift up that card or other cards and stuff. And so it's really this kind of game about like timing things out. And every turn you're playing basically an action card that will give you something you can do. And so it's just a really interesting one to get a bunch of cards out, figure out sort of like, I want to get this one to step 2, leave this one to step 4, this one to step 1, so I can go boop, 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 and like trigger and chain.
It's all about balancing
your
your cards and like you said, timing them right. And it's a very interesting mechanic that you don't really see very often. And it's very, very cool. And then eventually the cards will go all the way up, and then you can, I think, do like a treasure action with that. And you can collect them for points.
You can actually score them.
You can't do that until they're all the way up. And so you do need to use them, but you want to use them to their full ability, essentially.
Yeah,
and
you don't want to pass up rewards.
It's a very interesting little puzzle. Yeah,
it's really neat. I was like, man, that's a very cool game, and it looks really nice as well. So Aquatica was really cool. We also played 4 Gardens from.
We did play 4 Gardens,
from Arcane Wonders with this
really
cool
4 Gardens.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked it. This game is kind of in that same. It's plays something like it, but it's kind of the same realm of like Calico kind of thing, where it's like a very simple game, but it's got this really brain-burning puzzle in it. It's got this big 3D pagoda. It's really, really tall.
Yeah, it's 4 different levels with the
4 different levels,
resources.
and the whole thing, each level can turn, and there's different resources. There's like wood, stone, your normal kind of resources, and essentially you can play these cards, and you'll get to essentially collect resources on the part of the pagoda that's facing you. So it matters where you're sitting, but you can also rotate it to try and get the right resource, because on the different sides of the pagodas, it'll be like 0 stone, 1 stone, 2 stone, 3 stone. But you might not want as many resources as possible, because you can only hold 5 at a time, I believe.
think 4, and then 4, you can get up to 5, yeah.
And then when you play this card and you get to get resources from the pagoda, you have to either go from the top to the bottom or the bottom to the top, and you have to go in that order. So if you really need water, but you fill up on stone and wood first, it's like you're just not going to get water. So you're trying to like move this thing around and play a right card to go down, top down or bottom up, and and it just destroys your head. But aside from that, it's really, really simple.
Yeah, and you're basically trying to make these
panoramas.
You're trying to paint beautiful paintings and stuff. So you can play the cards multiple ways. You can play them to move your resources around for the action they show, or to play them down and try to create a panorama with them.
Really interesting. Yeah,
really
it just destroyed my brain. It's a very
figuring out how
puzzle.
to twist things around and is a fun puzzle, and it just like looks really cool on the table.
Yeah, it's rad.
That was awesome. I got a chance to play my own toy shop, which is a lifestyle board game product, and it's a kids game that's kind of got like some King Domino vibes to it, where you're building out a toy shop, which basically every tile you place will have 1 or up to 3 different colors and stuff, and different types of toys within those colors. And you're trying to build out, as you play them down into your kind of growing tableau, you're trying to build large areas of the same color, because every time I add to my area of green, if I add and extend that area, I get money for every toy within that green area, or blue. And sometimes you can play a tile which then extends 2 different colors, and then you get to score points for all those toys that you have in those areas. So it's a big spatial puzzle, but you can only build it in a 4x4 grid ultimately. And so it's very much aimed for kids, but it's cool because it's got some fun spatial awareness stuff in it. That's super chill.
And there's like race elements where you're trying to get the most of like one kind of thing.
Exactly. So I thought it was really good for kids. And the 2 kids I played it with really dug it. And their dad played along. So like all 4 of us were into the puzzle making, figuring out your toy shop. And it worked like kind of at all ages. So I was like, okay, this is a great family game then, because the parents don't have to like suffer through it. It's not too complicated for the kids. Everyone can sort of like, make some
Lifestyle
cool moves.
Board Games, who is like a Russian company, they're starting to get their stuff over here.
Yeah.
They make really good kids games that are always very interesting and very different. The way they work, they're really, really cool.
Yeah, super duper cool.
We also played Rat Queens to the Slaughter. Which I think Just is finishing up on Kickstarter basically right now. We did a Game House episode for this. This is by Deepwater Games, and it's this really, really cool like cooperative game where you are working together to beat off these baddies, and you're trying to save the town of Palisade essentially from all these baddies coming in. But eventually you're going to have the big bad come out. You don't have a choice. It's not like you can prevent it from happening.
It's the final showdown.
You're basically trying to get yourself prepared enough for when the big bad comes, and the more enemies you defeat during the most big part of the game means you'll have essentially more time to beat the big bad at the end of the game. And it's super cool, and you play as like one of 4 queens. Everyone has their own character. You all have different abilities, different cards, different decks, different stuff you can do, but it's a very cool, it's a cooperative game, but it's very, very dependent on cooperation, because you have
pushes you to work together.
Yeah, you have these friendship tokens that you can put down where you are in these 4 spots on the board. And then other people can pick up those friendship tokens. When that happens, your queen will warp over to where they are, and you get to do usually a big attack, like a big, it's called your friendship ability.
Yeah.
And the person who picked it up gets to put that on their board, and they essentially can increase their armor or increase their strength. So it really is about like, I'm going to put this down, go over here and do this. Someone else come pick it up, bring me back, and I can do this. And it works well. I liked it a lot. Yeah,
I agree. I think it's really fun and stuff. And I think with the Kickstarter unlock more characters and things to play as. There's a lot of content there. But it was cool because it's a cooperative game. The best ones I feel like really push you to find ways to work together.
Yes.
It's not just like an alpha gaming thing. Everyone's going to play their own cards out and stuff, and you can choose whatever order you play in. So there's a lot of room, I think, to find ways to like, I'm gonna leave this here for you. It's gonna beef you up. You're gonna be able to bring me back over here. And so you can kind of like really collaborate, which is cool. We also played Pandemic Legacy Season 0. Now, we'd played this a couple times before, but mostly just like the prologue. Then we started kind of going through a little bit of the story, but we played all the way through it, beginning to end in one sitting live on the air. And it was epic. So I wanted to put in the new area because now we've actually played
we played new games of it. Yeah, it was really fun.
Yeah, it was a good story. And this is one that like we talked about kind of afterward, and we're saying like the characters and stuff. I got really into the storyline that was unfolding in this one. And then the gameplay of Pandemic Legacy 0 with the kind of, it's very pandemic-ish, but the way that they changed, if you assemble these teams and those teams can move around and do stuff, is just like a really cool way to play Pandemic.
Yeah, I really think just like the prologue game, which isn't having, I think could be its own like Pandemic Iberia or something like that. I really think it could be its own. I think it's really fun.
It'd be cool, yeah. And so that was something that like playing it all the way through and seeing the stories and some of the surprises were just like, it was just super solid. We had so much fun. We're going to be playing through Pandemic Legacy Season 2 in the fall.
Sometime in the fall,
Can't wait for that. So shouts out to Z-Man for being down for that idea because it's like cool. Super cool.
We also played the Goonies Never Say Die. We went over to Lincoln from Board Game Geek's house because he lives out here in LA with... and so we went over to him to play the Goonies Never Say Die with Lincoln and Nikki on their stream. And it was super. I really liked it a lot. It was really fun.
It's kind of a one versus all.
Yeah,
There's like
you were like the GM.
The GM, the Goondocks master. And they kind of can do some control things with the minions that pop up like that. And they sort of like read out and reveal the story. Because you're kind of going through, ultimately, you play through, I think, 9 episodes. And you go through the story of the Goonies. Yeah. And if you're playing one of the Goonie characters, you'll choose one of the playable characters, Mikey and Chunk and stuff, and Data, and there's more characters coming. And you're kind of going down and exploring, and as a GM, you can kind of, you have surprises kind of waiting in the wing. So it was really fun to actually play on the other side. Like those one versus all games, I'm not always so keen about, but that was a fun one because it's basically... It's meant to be easy to get into. Because again, this is aiming for like mass market.
Especially that first scenario,
Yeah, but it was a really nice production and stuff.
It really was.
There's some fun things. You're ultimately doing like skill checks and it's like super accessible. There's some fun ways where, you can use a wish token to upgrade one of my dice on my turn, or rather I can use like your skill check ability versus mine. You might be a better. So it's another one that does a good job of like using collaboration and cooperation. And then on the other side, you get to kind of reveal these stories. It was really fun how much they kind of wove the narrative throughout. You have these moments in the campaign, in the episode, that you stop and sort of say, like, this is what's happening. And it's following a very familiar story. So I really liked that one. I thought that was really fun.
Yeah, I thought it was cool.
And it looks great.
It really looks great. And it's a very, very easy way to get into it. And I think it gets more complex as you go and stuff like that. But it was, again, it's that thing. It's like you're using an IP that some people will get just based off the IP. And it's just great. I thought it worked really, really well. I thought it was really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. The last thing we played that was new was we played Architects of the West Kingdom, the Works of Wonder expansion.
Yeah, it was also on Kickstarter right now.
It's also on Kickstarter right now and doing great. And so this is the second expansion for Architects of the West Kingdom. It's super cool. So it gives you these wonders that basically everyone has a chance to maybe build a wonder, and you can all make contributions throughout the game to these wonders. That kind of brings the price down, but you get these benefits immediately. There's also a new track, an influence track, which you can use your influence in various different ways.
You use it to like pay for other stuff. It's like you can turn in influence to get like a marble, or turn in influence to get other resources.
Yeah. So and it gives you an alternate route to kind of get stuff done.
Yeah, it kind of opens up the game a little bit more, honestly, because there's more ways to kind of get some stuff, which is really cool. I really liked it a lot. Yeah.
There's like this Princess and Profiteer character that will give you these bonuses as the game goes, and they kind of move around to different spots on the board. So it's like a nice little ad.
Yeah.
As this little sideboard, and just kind of beefs up a couple things. And so we're actually going to play it soon with that expansion and the original Age of Artisans expansion and put it all together. Because I think,
I think it'll be fine. Honestly, I don't think it's going to get overblown. No, sometimes we add a bunch of expansions, so it's like this game is getting too big.
This one,
I don't think this one, because neither of them are very, very huge. But I really like the new one a lot.
Yeah, it's super cool. So that's Architects of the West Kingdom Works of Wonder expansion specifically.
And that's the new games we played.
That's all the new games we played. But we played some oldies and goodies and new classics.
Always
and things. Played some Lost Ruins of Arnold. Do you hate it yet?
No. Still my favorite game of last year. Lost Ruins of Arnold is so darn good.
I cannot wait for the expansion. I'm so excited for it.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where like I might take it home because I really want to play the solo campaign because I really liked it solo.
It's
Lost Ruins of Arnold, it's so good. I love it so much. I think it's absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
And it should have won the Spiel.
I mean, Next time.
Trash.
Not next time because it's already out, but next time. We also played Castles of Tuscany.
We did. It had been a while.
Yeah, so that's a kind of like card-driven version of Castles
I'd forgotten how much I liked it. I'd only ever played it like one time.
Yeah.
And we played it again here, and I was like, oh, that's right. Like, I really like Castles of Tuscany a lot.
It's just nice. It goes down smooth.
Yeah.
You know, it keeps a lot of the stuff of Castles of Burgundy where you're building out these little regions and stuff, and all that's there. But using the cards, and you can turn in 2 reds to be a blue or something. So you have some of that kind of ability to turn in cards to make them wild, essentially. Just like makes it a little easier to play. It's quick.
Yes, it's quick.
But it has a lot of the satisfying parts of Castles of Burgundy where you gain points, and this thing triggers that.
You're trying to fill in all the animals in one area or whatever,
Yeah, so it's a lot of those things together, and it's like just a solid game. Like I'm like, this is just really a great counterpart if you don't want to get down with all of Castle of Burgundy. You want to play something that has a feeling like that, but it's a little quicker. Castle of Tuscany like just does really well, while still like I don't want to have one or the other. I'm happy to have both of those.
They're different enough, I think so.
Enough.
I really think it's outstanding.
Yeah.
We played Caverna the Cave Farmers, which we tried to figure out what to play, and I was like, I've been wanting to play Caverna lately, and guess what? It's really good.
It's nice. We've now played it enough where I'm like, okay, we sort of are okay at it.
We need to look up like a couple setup things and maybe a little couple.
Yeah.
When
We know how it
when I was setting it up, I was like, this is so nice. We've played it enough now where it's like I know how to play this game. Yeah, it's like I know how to play this game. I know how this works. Little things here and there we'll have to look up, of course. But like Caverna is great. It's it's like we got a whole where's the Uwe?
Where's the
It was right here. The whole Uwe. The Uwe big box.
Hello, beautiful game.
There's a couple other ones that show up on here too.
Indeed.
And it's like it's one of the Caverna I really enjoy. I really think it's outstanding.
It's super solid. If you like big Uwe Rosenberg worker placement games, Caverna is
like some Uwe stuff.
Yeah. So it's super solid. We also played Fluttering Souls, a nice little filler game where it's a set collection game that has a kind of card pyramid drafting style of like Seven Wonders Duel.
Yeah.
So you set out a card pyramid that will be dictated and be slightly different every round. So it's not going to be the exact same setup. Yeah. And then, of course, where the cards are will be different. You'll see most of them face up. Some will be face down as a surprise. And you're collecting different types of butterflies. And some of them want to be in sets of 2. Some want to be in sets of 3. And things like that. Really baseline.
Really simple. It's a filler. It's a quick little micro game. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're trying to get to 3 rounds won. So every time you play a round out, whoever has the most points from all the different sets they managed to make gets a little butterfly token. First one of 3 wins.
Exactly.
And the thing that's nice is because you do have that changing layout.
There's like 20 different layouts.
Yeah, so it just gives a little bit of variety where you're trying to do that thing of like, I'm going to take this card so that you have to take that one, which gives me first access to this new row so I can get that card.
Yeah, it's that classic pyramid solitaire kind of situation.
Yeah.
It's again, it's a little filler game, and it works really well. It's a perfect little like, hey, I want to keep a game in my car, so whenever I go to lunch at work,
super small.
You know, we go out somewhere, we can play a quick game. It's a 2-player only game, so it's just great. It really is, and if you see a chance to get a chance to play it, try it. It's really fun.
Yeah, super simple. We got a chance to play Gingerbread House.
Sometimes midsummer you gotta play Gingerbread House.
I have always a midsummer moment where praise be to ye. Where I just like want to do something Christmassy, and Gingerbread House seemed cozy.
Well, we played something else that's gonna pop up next month, which is gonna be we played Ticket Ride Nordic Countries. I was like, I want to be in Christmas right now.
Yeah, just feeling Christmas in the heat of summer. You want a feeling of Christmas. So Gingerbread House is a fantastic Phil Walker Harding game where you're placing down these domino tiles to collect different types of gingerbread to ultimately lure in famous fantasy creatures. You know, you have all of your Rapunzels and things like that. And you're trying to trap them because you're a witch in your gingerbread house.
Sure.
And it's super fun because you create all these combinations of things and the spatial elements of like, if I get 2 blue lined up, then in the future I can cover up those 2 blues and you get a third bonus one of those. So you're trying to line those things up. Every time you capture a fairy tale creature, you get a bonus wild tile, a single tile that you can put down, which then will trigger whatever it covers up immediately, which means maybe you get that gingerbread, which now you can capture a second person. And so you can just chain together these combinations. There's the main thing we always talk about this. There's always at least one turn in the game where you do something where it's like,
pull off something
dang, I did a
cool.
lot right there. That was just, that was really clean.
Yeah.
And that's a super satisfying thing. But then Phil Walker Harding makes super accessible games. So Gingerbread House is no different. It's perfectly right in the Phil Walker Harding wheelhouse of like comfortable, easy enough games to get into, a little bit puzzly with the spatial stuff, but nothing overwhelming. So that
the puzzle is relaxing.
Yeah.
It's a nice
Yeah.
like
It
okay,
doesn't
cool.
stress you
It's
out.
not like a calico puzzle where you're just like, Joe, what do I do?
Yeah,
How do I
yeah.
do this? You're just kind of
It's
like
such a hard thing to do.
Okay, yeah, it's really
That's like
good.
that dude's specialty.
Oh yeah, that's what he does.
Hits you with something where you're like, man, this is just goes down smooth.
Praise him.
Praise you, Phil. What's next?
We also played Hadara. This is a game we also played. This kind of showed up on Mike's top 10 games we've cooled on. And I almost made mine too. And it is
expansion stuff.
I do want to do the expansion stuff. I still really like it though.
It's really
This
good.
is a very simple kind of set collection game, kind of an engine builder to a degree, in a way where you basically are buying these cards, putting them in. You'll go up these tracks, military culture. It's like a Civ themed game. Yeah, exactly. But then you also have to go up food because at the end of each epoch, I think it's what it's called. You have to pay for all your cards. You pay for them with food. So you make sure you're getting all these different things. But it's got a really cool kind of drafting situation where there's like the 5 areas again: culture, food, technology, military. The 5 different areas, and then you will essentially you take 2 cards. You can choose to buy one or discard it for money, and the other one will go face up in that area's discard pile. And you go around until everyone has visited basically all 5
you'll
areas.
Get equal access to each color.
Yeah. And then you'll kind of have a little break where you do a little bit of stuff, and then you kind of do the second half of the epoch, which is basically you then get to grab stuff from the discard pile. So it's really cool because you're like, I like both these. I'm going to discard this one, but I might be able to get it back.
Hopefully it's there when I get back.
Yeah,
to
and
it.
it's really, really cool in that way. And there's 3 different rounds. The rounds, the cards get better and more expensive and stuff like that. And it's just a good little game.
Yep, just going up tracks. You're moving up these tracks. Everything you buy will bump you up on some track or other or multiple.
And they're worth points too.
Yeah, they're worth points. And so it feels very satisfying because you're always doing something. Like maybe other people are doing stuff more better than you, but like you're going to be doing a lot of stuff. And it's a very satisfying feeling.
Yeah.
I really just want to try the expansion materials to see what it changes, what it adds, to breathe a little new life into Hadara. Because that's really the only knock I can say is like, it's a fairly static game.
It is. It's pretty samey after a few plays.
Like if you play full player count of 5, you're going to go through all the cards.
Yeah.
You will see every card in the game. And so I'm like, okay, that's the only bummer. It's like, well, there's not infinite replayability and variety. With the tech cards, the purple ones, there are some advanced cards you could swap in and stuff. So it's like there's some there, but it's limited in that way. So I want to try some of the expansions and see those things, but it's a super solid game.
Yeah, it's really, really
like we
good.
just played the base game again. I was just like, I still have fun when I play this.
It's still great. Speaking of big uves, we played Howler Tower again. Boom, get wrecked. I really, 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 really like Howler Tower.
You're so good.
Howler Tower, I mean, like Feast for Odin's my favorite big uve game. It might push for that top uve spot.
Yeah, I think it's
I
got a
really
shot.
like it. It's just uve-ass uve. You're farming. You're farm stuff.
The cool thing about this one is there's like a central board of actions, and we're all going to them. But all your workers, you don't have like your own color workers. They're just these generic cubes. And the cool thing is that anyone can visit any action space, and every action space can be claimed 3 times. But the first time someone goes to a certain action, it only costs 1 worker. The second time it costs 2 and then 3. So it becomes more and more expensive the more things get used, whether or not that's by you, by me multiple times, or whatever. Yeah. And so it's all about how you allocate this pool of workers and stuff. Do I try to go to spaces that no one's going to simply because they're cheap? Does that fit into my plan? And you're ultimately playing out all of these cards to give you production, give you access to more resources and things, and then eventually start to play your big scoring cards where you're going to start turning in all those resources that you've been building this engine to kind of farm and get a bunch of hops and stuff, start turning them in for their big points. And upgrade this community center. So it's really, it's just like super duper resource management.
Yeah. And that's what it is,
And find ways to turn this resource into that resource and on and on.
A typical like Uwe, these big games, there's so many of those cards. And there's like 4 different kinds, and there's like other sets you can play. It's just, it's like Feast for Odin where you have those occupation cards, and there's like this many of them, and you're like, how did you even think of all these? One's like Bean Farmer, and you're like, what? It's just, Uwe's wild. So nonetheless, it's like there's so many of those cards, so it's always something going on. But a lot of them, it's like when you play this kind of card, do this kind of thing, you get to play or you get to grab a bonus card. And those bonus cards are pretty easy to get down into play, which will give you something else. So there's a lot of times where you can, you're kind of always doing stuff. You're always able to do like a lot of like little things, which is really satisfying, I feel like. And I really like the production. It looks really nice.
I think it looks great. I think it's like fairly accessible for a big Uwe Rosenberg
I think
game.
so too.
It's like not a light game, but you're like, this is, when we started learning, I'm like, this is
of the 4 big Uves that we have,
easy.
I think it's the easiest in terms of the most accessible.
By far, So it's like, okay, that's kind of great. Like, I would suggest if people are like, I want to try a Uwe game, it's like, I would start with Howler Tower. And then work into other stuff because it jumps up quick in terms of like more stuff moving around, complexity. Howler Tower is plenty complex enough on its own, but it does feel a little easier to get into.
Yeah, for sure. We also played Hero Realms. We had a little bit of time at the end of a stream, played Hero Realms. Again, 2-player little deck builder that I forgot just how much I enjoy.
So good.
Because this is a deck builder we've talked about a couple of times where it's like you get to the meat of the game right away.
Straight away.
A lot of times deck builders, you start with a really crappy hand and then you build up, and then about halfway through the game is when you're like, okay, now I got the good cards, now I can do some cool stuff. This game, you start, first turn, you can buy a crazy OP card.
Yeah.
And then, but then so can your
just go
opponent.
on from there.
And then you're just going back and it's just kind of like character versus character, and you're trying to eliminate the other person. And you're just doing crazy damage and getting crazy amounts of gold and buying new cards. Great combos, because there's essentially different factions. There's like the undead faction and like the beast faction. Yeah. And the more cards you play of a certain type, you generally get better. You can unlock different stuff on different cards. And it's just really, really good. Yeah. Once you get like the character packs, so everyone's starting deck is different. Oh, it makes it even better. It's just really fun, honestly. Yeah.
Super duper solid. There's an app coming forward. They just ran a Kickstarter for it. There's already a Star Realms app, now Hero Realms.
I'm really excited. Because Star Realms never really interests me, but Hero Realms,
I'm like, ooh, and an app that worked really well, I think. So I'm excited to play many games of that. We also played Illusion, another little filler game by Wolfgang Warsch, who just seems to be able to like whip up a game out of nothing, and it's great. So this is a fantastic one. We like playing with chat because it just, everyone gets into the illusion of it all. So in this game, all you're doing is there's all these weird pictures, just abstracted things with 4 colors. There's red, blue, green, and yellow. And you say we're going for yellow right now. What you're trying to do is you're trying to put the cards as you play them out in order in terms of least amount of yellow to most amount of yellow. The rest of the colors on it don't matter. Yeah. And so it's by percentage. It's like, what percentage of this card is yellow? What percentage of that card is yellow?
And it screws with your mind.
You're looking at something like, this has more yellow than that, and you're like, does it? Because there's things where your mind will fill, because there's shapes and stuff, so your mind is like filling in information.
Because the colors are on top of each other. So
it's all stacked on top of each other.
Say this one's a bunch of circles, right? Like a bunch of circles. And so there's yellow circles and red circles, but they're overlapping each other. So you see a bit of a yellow circle, and in your mind you go, oh, that circle is this big. Yeah. But that's not what's showing on the card.
It's like, what can you actually see?
And what the percentage is how much yellow is on the card. Yeah. But the problem is your mind constantly tries to fill in all the areas. And it's like, no, that's not what you're trying to do. And it just messes you up. Yeah. You just can't, it just screws with your head.
Well, there's also the thing of like, there's a bunch of yellow on here. The yellow thing is big, but like most of the card is white. Yeah. And so you're like, yeah, there's definitely a good portion of yellow, but the white also counts, and the white is not a color you're looking for. So the actual overall percentage of the card is still pretty low. Yes. Yellow is just the most prevalent of all the colors, but no color is very big. Yeah. So it really hits you in these different ways where
it's really
you will
fun.
Just assign value to something where it's just like, well, is that what you're actually seeing?
It just messes with the good part, because your brain is amazing. The fact that it constantly like fills in stuff.
Oh yeah. And
it's great, but this game specifically goes like, yeah, you know that really cool thing your brain does? That's your enemy. Yeah, yeah. And it's really cool.
It's gonna hurt you in this case.
Again, little filler game. I think it's by Panasaurus has it or something like that. You can find like Target and stuff. It's really perfect little filler game.
Yeah, anyone can play.
Anyone can play.
Anyone can play. It's fantastic. We also played Lanterns and Lanterns Dice.
Both great.
Both in the same night. We played Classic Lanterns. It's been a while since we played. That's one we like to dust off every 4 or 5 months.
Such a banger still.
It's still great.
Love that
game. It's a great thing where you're putting down tiles into this growing sea of lanterns. Literally, you're building out this water with a bunch of beautiful lanterns on it. And when I place a tile down, whatever's facing the directions where the player was sitting, we were sitting around 4 sides of a table, whatever edge of that tile is facing you, you get that stuff. So you're always getting something on every turn, whether or not you're playing or not. No downtime. Yeah. So I'm trying to like make sure Nick gets a bunch of white, because he's not going to go for that. Or maybe there's no white cards left to take. So I'm like, I'm going to face white to you. You get nothing. Yeah. There's blue. If that's facing me, I'll get the blue though. And if you make matches, you get a bonus color as well. So you're trying to get all these different cards to then turn in different sets to get these tiles. You're kind of dedicating to the Emperor and stuff. So you need sometimes a set of 4 of the same color, or all 7 different colors, or sets of 2 and things like that to get these little tiles for scoring points and stuff. So it's like a pretty simple, accessible game. Looks fantastic. And then they now have made a roll and write version of it, which is it's kind of a sequel to the game. Like basically in the narrative of the game, the Lantern Festival has gone over so well that now that we're celebrating with fireworks. So it's literally a follow-up to Lanterns.
It really is,
And the board that you're filling in is that same water that now has lanterns and things in it, and you're just putting in those colors of lanterns to trigger different
Fireworks displays,
firework displays.
Yeah.
And there's different bonuses you can get on the board.
But it's got a similar situation where now instead of placing a tile, you have a 4 dice that you roll into this little tray that arrange them into a square.
Makes that,
and then you get to decide how to turn that tray. And so you're still like, I'm getting a blue one, Mike's getting a red one, that person's getting a yellow, that one's
and then we all draw and we circle a little triangle on our board of that matching
Exactly.
color.
So you're always getting stuff, same thing. But this one is actually, it's heavier. It's more of a puzzle than normal
There's
lanterns
more of those
is.
combinations you can pull off.
But they're both really great, honestly.
They're both super fantastic. We just love them both, and I think both will stick around for a good long time.
Yeah.
That's Lanterns and Lanterns Dice.
Yeah, we played Posh Splosh.
Poshy Splosh Doshi.
Yeah, indeed. Potion Explosion, or
so good.
I think Poshy Splosh Doshi is the Polish version.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
But nonetheless, I love Potion Explosion. This is again such a good like gateway game. It's just set collection. It's a game where you're pulling out these marbles out of this big marble track, and then you pull out a red marble, and then the other marbles then slide down. And when you slide down, if the same color hit each other, those then explode, and then you get to take those ones. And then maybe the same color hits again. And you can get these crazy combos, which is very satisfying. Then you have all these marbles, and then on your little player board, you have 2 potions.
You're gonna make potions.
And they will have different color requirements on them. So you're putting these marbles in your potion. Once you fill out a potion, boom, you get that potion, and all the potions have a little special ability. Like one might make it so you can like put the wrong color in a spot or something like that. Just little special abilities which might allow you to make more potions. Yeah. And then you can use those abilities because you get to use them right away. Very simple, but it has that kind of Candy Crush app game feel where you're trying to match colors or switch things around to get the right colors. But then on top of that, it's just a little set collection. It's like, hey, these potions, this one wants 2 black, 3 red, 1 yellow. That's where you get those marbles. You need to try and get, it's so intuitive. Exactly. Yeah. It's so intuitive. And then basically all you have to do then is explain the different potions.
Yeah.
And that's it. And it's just, this is a game, again, we talk about so many games, it's always like, this is a game that makes gamers.
Yeah.
Because this is a game you can play with dang near anybody.
Yeah.
And they're just like, this is really cool. Yeah. And you're like, right?
The first time I played Potion Explosion, like, this is so fun to play with.
You want to play Merv now?
Yeah. And they're like, no. And I'm like, but you'll like it.
It's really good.
There's camels, the marbles of sub-Saharan African fauna, right?
I was listening to a book.
Fauna animals, right?
Yes,
flora
plants. I was listening to a book about the dinosaurs, and they were in part of their extinction. Apparently, when the asteroid hit, it immediately melted a bunch of rock and sand and stuff like that, right? Do. And so just made all these like little glass spheres and just shot them for miles, and just like it was essentially the biggest shotgun blast,
the biggest frag grenade of all time.
Yeah, basically. So it's a 360 shotgun blast that just killed everything.
Whoa.
For miles, great. Sorry,
that's not good.
Little glass beads made me think.
The point is, Potion Explosion is great, as is.
Check it out.
The Quacks of Quillenberg.
So is the Cretaceous period.
Yes, it's a fantastic time.
Great time.
Not once that meteor hit.
No, then it got.
Before then, it was great. We played Quacks of Quillenberg. Fantastic push your luck game.
Oh, yeah. So good.
That's just great. I don't think it'll ever not be fun. I don't think you'll ever play and be like, well, that was a dud. No. It's just a great game because it boils it down to simple. It's like, do you want to push your luck? And of course, yes, I do.
Yes, I do.
Let me pull one more chit out of a bag. You're pulling chits out of a bag. All the different colors have different abilities and stuff, which can change out from game to game, which adds infinite replayability.
The variability is nuts, yeah.
And you are adding them to this kind of cauldron. And these little snap peas, these little white ones, will make your cauldron explode. If too many of them, the sum total of the numbers that appear, there's 1, 2, and 3. If it goes beyond 7, your cauldron explodes, which is not the end of the world, but it's a setback. You either have to choose only money or only points. You can't get rubies. There's a couple of penalties, but it's not like punishing. Yeah. And so it's a great thing of like, well, of course I'm gonna push my luck because I'm not so scared of the penalty that I don't do it. So it does a good job. Wolfgang Warsch, of course, makes it so it's like this is incredibly fun to play, and there's those big moments where you just pull really lucky, and it's just straight up good luck or bad. Like, that's all it is.
That's how it is.
It's a push your luck game. How much do you want to push it? But the luck will come how it does.
It just works.
It just works.
It works so well. It just goes over so well. Like you said, I don't think there's ever a time this game just isn't fun. Like,
no, not for us anyway.
It just will be fun. It's great. Yeah. We played Stop Thief. We like to play this game with chat a lot. This is a game by Restoration Games, sponsor. Thank you, Sponsor Daddy.
Thank you.
And this is a game where we always play it co-op, and now the second edition has like official co-op stuff and co-op cards, and you're essentially working together to try and find these 7 bandits. Yep. And they are running around this board stealing stuff, and how the game works is it's run by an app, and that app knows the board, and that app will just run them around, but you don't know where they are, but the app is going to constantly give you sound clues, like walking indoors or walking outdoors or opening a door or breaking through a window. And you're essentially, every person's turn, they're going to get a clue. So as you go, you're getting more and more clues. And so you can start piecing out like, okay, they can't be here because it went door, walk, door. And
that's
over here, that wouldn't be possible. So you start honing in where they are, and you're working together and just like talking about it. We have to play chat because they can see the board and they can hear the things.
Yeah, it's actually really easy to play from afar.
From remotely. It's really, really easy to play remotely. And it just works really well. I absolutely adore this game. It's one of my favorite like co-op games. Yeah. And again, great game to introduce to new people because it's just like, again, simple concept. Okay, we heard a door and then indoor walking. Where could that be? Yeah. Anyone can start on that level.
And it's kind of amazing that like you will be able to put together, they're in at least this area. Yes. Like it's always incredible. You're like, wow.
You might be right behind them the entire time and lose, but you can always find out where they are.
Yeah.
You know?
And like that's just it's very satisfying to be able to like literally pick up the trail. It's a genius game that's like been brought back by Restoration in such a great way with the app integration. And then of course, making it more accessible, making it cooperative. Because now it's great for families.
Yes.
Where it's like, let's all talk it out together. Yeah. And think of, now the kids can play. Like,
you can play one versus all where like Mike can control the thieves.
Yeah,
so there's 3 different ways to play it. Yeah, it's really good.
Fantastically playable game.
Yeah.
We played Summer Camp by Praise be for Walker Harding.
Praise
be to ye. You made a deck building game. This is a game that's centered thematically around like a summer camp. So you're going to play with 3 different decks of cards along with some basic cards that are going to be different like merit badge activities. So there's like cooking and friendship and water sports.
And
things like that. And each deck has its own kind of small, they're not major, but they have their own small like different thing they do. Yeah. Like focus or whatever. And you're trying to play these cards out in a deck building way where you're going to buy some cards on your turn. Those go to your discard pile. They eventually shuffle into your deck. Now you have better cards that you draw every turn and so on. And you're working your way down the path to claim these 3 merit badges. The game will end once someone has claimed all 3. Multiple people can all get to the end of the line, but sort of a race to get there because you'll get a more valuable merit badge if you get there first. And it's just super simple and accessible. It's just the idea of like, it boils it down to the basics of deck building where it's just like start with some bad cards. Those cards usually allow you to buy better cards. Once those cards come through, they might allow you to buy better cards still and start to do combinations of stuff. And this game is just very much aimed at that level. They do a great job in the rulebook of explaining what deck building is as a concept, which is super important because that's one that when I first played my first deck builder, I was just like, what am I doing? You know? And so it really holds your hand into this concept, which is like a great whole area of board gaming. Deck building is great, but it does need a little bit of explanation. And so Phil Walker Harding, of course, was put on this earth to create board gamers.
Oh, man.
Summer Camp does that with a really appealing theme for us. Like the summer camp outdoors nature theme is like so very needed, I feel like. We now these days have quite a bit of it, which is fantastic. Keep bringing it.
Yeah, it's great. We played Terraforming Mars Aries Expedition. We actually just had a Game House episode come out about it. Which is super cool. Yeah, I mean, we love Terraforming Mars in general, and I think I like Aries Expedition.
I just love
better. I definitely like it better. I'm trying to figure out how much better I like it because I definitely like it better.
The main thing that people have said, and I agree, is like the thing that you don't have in this one is the area control aspect of the board.
Yeah, and the tension.
That is a cool part of the game. However, the upside that this version gives you in terms of the things that it strips away, the things that it streamlines is so much better to me that like, we're not getting rid of Terraforming Mars.
No, we still got it.
Let's put that out there. We're not getting rid of it. But I'm like, on a day-to-day basis, I'm much more likely to choose Aries Expedition.
It's quicker,
I love the fact that not every phase of a classic Terraforming Mars round, not every phase is going to happen.
No.
So the fact that it's not so scripted in terms of like how this plays out is really interesting. You know, it's just like that's a cool thing.
And again, it just streamlines it where it's like now instead of when you get steel production or titanium production, instead of getting the cubes that you spend, you just always get that discount.
Which is just
now you can always just turn in a card for $3, and it's like, and I understand some people want that tension, but like the tension on the main board, I've never really cared about. I flat out dislike the milestones and the awards in the normal game. I just flat out hate them. I don't enjoy playing with them. And the part on the board is like, the main thing I do miss is I will say, like, I do miss the whole, like, I need to, like, get this heat because there's only one spot on the heat left and I want to make sure I get that. I do miss that bit of tension, which the way this game works, you can't have that. But that's literally it. Everything else I like significantly more in the new one.
Yeah,
the
sure.
art's better too. It's like, it's just, I think it's easier. I think it'll get to the table far more often because it's quicker. But in the end, it is more or less the same game, right? It's more the engine building of it, which is my favorite part of it, is pretty much the same.
Yeah.
And then everything else they've changed, and I really like the changes.
It's just speedy and stuff. It's nice. It just keeps things moving.
Yes.
It's not a quick game necessarily, but it just has a lot of momentum.
No, it's still like an hour plus. Yeah, it's still good. It's great.
Yeah. We also played Viticulture, Tuscany style. Nick hates it now. You famously don't like the game anymore.
Don't like it anymore.
It's so good.
It's the best game ever made.
Still just so good. We had a good game of it too.
You had a good game, yeah.
But it was closer than we thought it was. And this is a game where you're racing to kind of get your vineyard up and running and start producing wine and fulfilling wine orders the quickest. You know, you're really trying to get this kind of engine built up. There's different types of buildings you can build that you can get better types of wine or grapes planted to then turn into wine. And it's just kind of classic worker placement. But now you're broken down into different seasons where you can do certain actions in spring, certain in fall, you know, summer and winter and all that. And it's just great. I don't know. It has a really good build to it.
It's my favorite game. I mean, there's not much else I can say about it. It's my favorite game. I've absolutely fell in love with it from the moment I saw it. I haven't even played it yet. I just saw a review on the Dice Tower for it. And I immediately was like, yeah, I need to play that. And
your instinct was so spot
And again, this
on.
was early on in board game before I knew that I was like, I really liked Euro games. It was one of the earliest games I really saw and was like, for whatever reason, I was like, I need to play that. And it's been my favorite game ever since.
And you kind of said it to me too. You're like, this is going to be a weird theme, but like, I just really feel good about it. We both played and we're like, dang, that fits us. Like, neither of us are drinkers and it never really matters.
You don't need to be at all.
You never need
it's like,
I'm not also a Viking, but I like Feast for Odin. And
it
works out. But it's just like, I don't know, it works really well.
Yeah, it's my favorite game. Yeah.
We also played Wingspan digitally.
We played Wingspan digital.
We did a makeup stream for Gen Con right before we moved, and the Wingspan app works really well. I'm really excited to see, eventually, I assume, expansion materials hit the Wingspan digital app, and we have both of those expansions physically.
Yeah.
I heard there's a bunch more that just got announced.
Like 3 or 4 or something.
Yeah, I don't know if it's specifically what's going to come out, but that there's going to be a lot more Wingspan in our future.
Yeah.
But Wingspan's just a fantastic engine building game, also from Stonemaier Games like Viticulture, where you're bird watching. You're just trying to spot the best birds, and if you spot a bird, you get to put that bird down. Feed it some worms and things, and it hangs out in the forest, so it makes your forest action better. So now I can collect more food every time I take that action. So you're really getting more and more efficient. Yeah. You have to do less actions to get more stuff. And then as the game goes, you have fewer and fewer actions in each round. So you really need to be more efficient. And so it's a great kind of balance there. Where at the end of every round, you spend one of your cubes to score an end of round goal, and you have one fewer cube in the next round. Yeah. So first round you have 8 actions, the last one you have 5. You're like, ooh, that's pretty different. But you might be able to really do a better engine
going. Yeah. I really like it. We played digitally, and I really like the digital implementation.
Works really well.
I think it works really well. It's gorgeous. It's just smooth. It just does stuff for you. You can then play it with AI, so you have to play it solo. It's just, I think it's great. Yeah.
It's really fantastic. And that makes up our whole list for the month.
Oh my stars.
That's all of our games. It wasn't our busiest month of gaming, but we got, I think, 9 new things, and then we moved, which is pretty huge. So again, check out our Kickstarter.
Indeed.
For helping us build out the studio and completing it and stuff. It's a little roomy, echoey sounds right now.
Yeah, we're getting there.
We're taking care of all that, but we're actively building. If you're not seeing us, if we're not in front of you here like this, it's because usually we're tinkering around in this space.
Yeah, pretty much.
To get it up and running. But we have a few new patrons.
We do. At the end of every Rapid Reviews, we'll shout out the new patrons we got in the last month.
Thank you, patrons.
So thank you so much, people. We got a decent amount. We got John, we got Jarrett, we got Sean, we got Danny, we got Kenneth, we got Aditya. I'm sorry, I don't know how to say this one. Aditya? I'm sorry if I said your name horrendously wrong.
Apologies for that.
Should have checked. Sorry.
Appreciate you being here.
We got Steven, and then we got Mom Gamer. Thank you so much to all those new patrons. Yeah, we really appreciate it.
Like I said, we're running this Kickstarter and asking for cash, and we say that knowing full well that we have people who every month are incredibly generous to us, and it does not go unnoticed. So we really appreciate you. It's the only reason we got here into this new place is like we've had a solid business now for a couple of years, and it's because of our patrons. So we really appreciate it. There's fun things to check out on our Patreon that are free and available for everybody. You don't have to be a patron to watch them. We do bonus videos and stuff. So if ever you're interested, go on and check out all that content. And then if you have a couple of dollars and want to give it to us, we wouldn't say no to it. We'd really appreciate it.
Yeah. And that's going to be it. I guess we'll see everyone later, huh?
Let us know what you played this month and what was your favorite. Put in the comments. And we'll see those in the comments. Give this video a thumbs up, and we'll see you next month, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Whoa, what a bunch of new games got played.
Yeah, there's a lot of new games.
Played some new games. If you want to check out last month's Rapid Reviews, it's going to be just over there. There's going to be a super duper sweet video right down there for you to watch. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you're watching this now-ish, check out our Kickstarter like we said.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody.